doing? Jose Cantu, the Phoenix Bookstore here. Today I want to talk about this fantastic book, The Secret, and how to manifest anything that you want in life. I truly believe this. Please subscribe, hit the notification button. Thank you. This is hands down one of my favorite books. It's helped me out a lot in my life. I heard that part 2 is coming out, so I'm really excited about that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what that book has to offer, and really looking forward to reading that. So let's go ahead and begin. Manifestation of what you want. Some people say, well, that's unrealistic. You can't do everything. You can't, it's unrealistic to believe that you could just think about something and that it will appear or that it will come true. And from a certain perspective, I can see how that can seem unrealistic. But remember, at one point in time, people never imagined that we were gonna have flying objects up in the sky. Nobody ever thought that we'd be seeing airplanes like we do right now. But the Wright brothers set their mind to it and dedicated themselves, and they had a vision and they manifested that vision, and now we have awesome airplanes. So that's only one example of things that have happened. And so it's not that you imagine something and all of a sudden it becomes real. That's not what I'm talking about here. What I believe is that when you envision something, you're putting out a certain energy into the universe, and that energy is going to become something. It has to show up somewhere somehow. And so the more energy you put into something, the more that everything around you is going to be focused on that certain goal that you have, on that certain project, whatever it may be, and it will become a reality. That's just the way it works, right? If you're whatever you're constantly focused on, that's where your energy is going. And you're gonna see more of that, okay? So that's what this book talks about. It talks about gratitude. It talks about manifestation. It talks about the law of attraction and how when you focus on something, the more you focus on it, the more you attract that you focus on. And it's very true. It's very true. If I focus on my failures, if I focus on all the negative thoughts that I have, I'm only gonna feel worse and worse. And guess what? I'm gonna get more of it. That's just the way it works. If I focus on happy thoughts, if I focus on a certain goal that I'm working on, I'm gonna see more of that, all right? That's just the way it works, because that's where you're putting your energy to, and that is how you start manifesting what you want in life. Really awesome book. So what are some personal examples, I guess? Well, it actually happened before I read this book, but the principles still apply. Okay, when I first purchased a home, me and my spouse purchased a home, and I had always thought about not paying a house for 30 years. I had already thought about that before I purchased the home. But as more and more time went by, we just went ahead and bought the home. And at that point in time, I just completely my mind went blank. I was young and I forgot about all the stuff about paying it off early and all that. I just wanted to buy a house so that me and my spouse could live in it. And so we did that, and we just purchased it pretty much like almost everybody else, and got a loan for 30 years. And lo and behold, I get a letter in the mail from this company that talks about paying off your home early by doing a bi-weekly payment. And so I get this thing, and it was awesome, right? Because that's what I had already been thinking about before, but I just had forgotten about it already. So I started reading it. It makes sense to me. So I spoke to my spouse and I said, you know what, let's try this. And it's a bi-weekly payment. That means that instead of paying your payment once a month, you're paying it every 2 weeks, but just divide it in half. But just by doing that, you end up knocking some years off of your mortgage and of course beating the interest. And so we went ahead and followed that plan. And then we took other further steps because all my energy was focused on paying my house off early. And so I started taking further steps to accomplish this goal. And the more steps I took towards this goal, the more it was starting to become a reality. And so soon enough, you know, actually at 7 years and 4 months, something like that, we paid off our home. Thank God, right? I'm not saying this to like boast or, you know, I'm talking about this because I want people, I'm trying to hopefully send a message out there. I'm trying to bring value to the viewers and hopefully go ahead and follow these steps. And, you know, if you don't want to, I'm not trying to sell this book here. I'm simply talking about the value that this book holds. You could find it, I think, on Netflix. I think I saw it on Netflix too. You know, the whole book and the story in video form. You can find it on YouTube. You know, so I'm not trying to sell you this book. I'm simply telling you the value that's in this book. If you want to purchase a book, you can purchase it through us. You can find us on bookshop.org and you can purchase it through there. But again, I'm not trying to sell you this book. I'm simply talking about the value that this book holds and how it was able to impact me, so that I'm here not just talking about, you know, hypothetical situations, but actually something that did happen in real life and that I benefited from personally. Me and my spouse did. So again, those are some steps that I took even before knowing about this book. When I read the book, I was like, oh my goodness, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense. And then I started learning more and more, and I started applying those same concepts that I had applied way back when for other things in my life. And because after reading the book, now the things that I subconsciously did in the past make more sense now. And after reading the book, and that's the reason that I wanted to talk about this book. I mean, it's amazing. Again, some people, you know, they don't believe in it. That's fine. Some people say, oh no, that's unrealistic. You can't just manifest something. That's fine. You know, not everybody's gonna believe in it. I'm simply saying how it worked for me and how I think it's a great read and a very valuable book. I understand other people's I understand other people not believing in it. When I learned about the bi-weekly program and how I could pay off my house earlier, and as I was paying it off earlier, I saw that it was very real. It wasn't this mythical, you know, it wasn't just like this theory or this thing that doesn't exist. So I started telling other friends about it at work, and other friends took advantage of it, but most of them didn't, you know, even though they were able to, because we all work at the same place. Of course, everybody has different expenses, stuff like that, but you know, it's if you're talking about not putting more money into it, but simply doing the bi-weekly thing, then it's not going to cost you any more. So, you know, it makes sense to do it. And it's, even though you're not going to pay it off in that short amount of time if you just do that, but you're still going to pay it off earlier. And so what we did, we took further steps to send even more money and pay it off that early. However, my point was that some people, they're not gonna do it. You know, they just don't. It's not in them to do it, and that's fine. Everybody's different. You know, for those people that see something that's of value to them and take advantage of it, well, that's great. You know, and for those that don't, well, there's nothing we can do about that, right? I told probably 100 people, and out of those 100 people, maybe like 1 or 2 actually took advantage of that technique to be able to pay off their house earlier. But I still feel great when they approach me and they're like, hey, Katu, man, thanks for telling me about that thing, man. We're doing it, and you know what? Yes, we've already knocked off several years from our mortgage, and we've already beat the interest by this much, and you know, And then some of them were like, hey, you know what, I'm almost done paying the home. And that made me feel good that I was just able to help somebody out. And that's really one of the things that I love doing, is just helping people, making someone's life better, you know, making them feel more fulfilled, whatever it is. Like, I just, you know, so that's what I've gotten from this book. I hope that it helps you out. Today I'm just talking about this book. I'm going to be making other videos about other books that have actually been able to help me in my life. Not only books, also, you know, also things like YouTube. Like, some people make fun of it here on. They're like, oh, you know, you learned that on YouTube. I've actually learned a lot of things on YouTube. I've been able to concentrate better. I've been able to fix my central air like 4 times already. I had some help from some friends that have air conditioned companies, but just to verify that, hey, you know what, I'm doing this, that, do you think I'm doing the right thing? Yes, you are, or yes, you did the right thing, stuff like that. But I did everything myself through YouTube. But I've learned a lot from YouTube. I really do a lot of my research there. Actually, you know, I learned about, you know, that's where I learned about Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty is a writer, and at some point he was a monk, and he wrote this book, Think Like a Monk. I posted it on my Instagram the other day. Very interesting book. He goes real into depth about the steps that monks take to gain inner peace, tranquility, and just enjoyment in life, and many other points that he makes in that book. Very interesting book. I'll be doing a video about that as well. I learned about how to do better in social media through Gary Vee. That's where I ran into Gary Vaynerchuk. So I'll be doing a video about that as well. You know, I'll be talking about different books that are my personal favorites, or different people or personalities that are my personal favorites, or that I have learned a lot from. Different books, like, for example, some about finances. I'm not a financial expert or anything like that, but things that have worked for myself, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So I'm going to be talking about how, you know, I believe that the first step to financial independence or financial freedom is listening to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey's really good at getting people out of debt, and, you know, giving them advice on what they should and shouldn't buy, things like that. And then level 2 would be, in my opinion, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Mr. Robert Kiyosaki. He's really good at talking about, you know, the difference between assets and liabilities, what to buy and what not to buy. It's a little bit like Dave Ramsey. However, he goes more into depth, and he talks about how, you know, having debt, good kind of debt versus bad kind of debt. So I'll be talking about different books that I like and stuff like that, and hopefully y'all can get some value from my channel. Some of the other videos are just fun and entertaining. You know, there's one where I did this science experiment where I put the soda and the Coke and baking soda together, and, you know, we just have fun with that. All kinds of different videos. However, I want to bring value to my viewers. Like I mentioned before, I want to hopefully, so one of my viewers can, you know, whatever it is that their goal is, hopefully I could maybe inspire them, or maybe give them some type of tip on what book could help them out, or YouTube personality could help them out. So again, guys, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully this video brought some value to you, and you can get something out of it, and hopefully it makes you, you know, just helps you out. That's really all I want. Sometimes we focus so much on what we're after, on a goal that we're trying to achieve, on something that we want, and we forget about everything that we have. And sometimes when you're just focused on something so bad, and I mean, it's okay to be focused, but what you feel is very important. So it talks about feeling like you already have something, like it's already yours. Like that goal that you're trying to achieve, you already achieved it. You know, if it's a car that you want, you could just envision yourself in that car, hands on the steering wheel, the smell of a new car, and you feel like you already own it. But how do you get to feeling that way? Well, it starts with gratitude, by being grateful for the things that you already have. And when you feel grateful, it brings a good feeling into your mind, right? Into your soul, like you feel good. And so you take that same feeling and then you apply it to that thing, that goal that you're trying to achieve. And so you feel like you already own it, you already accomplished it, you already have whatever it is that you're trying to get. Otherwise, you'll just forever be chasing something because you always feel like you don't have enough. No matter what you get, you don't feel like it's enough. You want a car, but then you get it, and a year, 2 years, 3 years later, you already want another one because you feel like it's not good enough. You feel like you're always wanting something else. And so that's when you lose that. That's when you're not being grateful. That's when you're not being grateful for what you have. Now, it's okay to want things, but again, it's very important how you feel. The feeling talks about, how the feeling that we throw out into the universe, that's what we get back. So if you're always just wanting, instead of, okay, I want this, but I already feel like I already have it. If I feel like it's already mine, that's what this book teaches you. And I think it's amazing. It's worked for me. Hopefully it works for you. And thank you all for watching. If there's any book that y'all want us to do a review on, go ahead and comment below. And thank you very much.